in GBP happened despite the Bank of England being reasonably hawkish, meaning Bank of England was also hiking rates. Unlike ECB, they were more willing to fight inflation. They were more willing to hike. So there was no real divergence between the monetary policy of the Federal Reserve and the monetary policy of Bank of England. But despite that, this happened because the dollar strength was so overwhelming that there was a fall in cable as with every other currency. But more importantly, somewhere in probably, I would say August kind of a period, you suddenly this hikes, the rate hikes that the Bank of England did led to a sharp increase in their government bond yields. And because of the sharp increase in government bond yields, a lot of these big funds and insurance companies, they had a problem because suddenly their investments started losing value because they were invested, a lot of them were invested in government bond yields. And because of that, there came a time one day that suddenly they had to liquidate a lot of their bonds just to fund the margin calls. When you trade in the market, you do have margin calls, right? So that kind of event happened and which collapsed the pound from 1.14 all the way to 1.07. It took a lot of time for the pound to recover, right? So that's why the fall in pound seems more exaggerated than euro, because this structural issue happened in the UK markets. Now, this is a very important point, that structural issues are a problem. At the end of the day, everybody talks about rate hikes and so on, but what those rate hikes are going to do in the markets, they do silent act. They have silent influence in some of these markets. And one fine day, suddenly some fund will go bust or some major issue will happen, and central bank has to come into the picture to rescue. That pound was an example. The GBP bond market, the UK bond market called gilt market, was an example of some kind of thing that can happen. Now, this is important because dollar liquidity is getting withdrawn at $100 billion a month pace. Maybe in the next 6 months to a year, there will be a time when this withdrawal of liquidity will play a big role suddenly. So that is the dark horse, and that is the tail risk that we have to be watchful about. Receding liquidity, receding waters will show what are the problems, right? Same logic here. Receding liquidity can show the problems, but not like gradually, but immediate, one shot. One big problem can happen. So that is something which you have to keep in mind in the next 6 months to a year. So this is something that you have to keep in mind on the overall global picture.